Hey, what's up, everybody? Double Jesus here. I'm gonna come at you with my Hulk Rage build guide. As you can see, Rage is the way to go with Hulk. With a small investment in man napping. Yeah, we will definitely be kidnapping some men in this build. Um, so starting off with Hulk, in case you haven't really played the Marvel's Avengers beta yet, I've seen a lot of people complaining about Hulk's durability, and mostly has to do with a lot of his long animations on some of his heavy attacks and not abusing his rage mechanic. I've been playing Hulk. I've been playing him on even the hardest difficulty, and honestly, the issue with that is just not having teammates that can deal with the guys that just sit back around the fray of the bulk of the fight and shoot rockets and one-shot me. I can handle all of the melee combat in it. It's mostly just about abusing dodge. Maybe it's because I was playing Phantasy Star Online 2, which was recently released on Steam, and you do a lot of dodge abusing in that as well. So maybe I kind of just slid right into this game on that. But yeah, here we go. First off, let's look at his basic attacks. This is his basic light combo. The nice thing about this is, unlike a lot of other people's light combos, it does medium impact, medium stun. It can break blocks on the finisher, and it does stagger and flyback. So for your light enemies, you can come in, you start to stagger. You can even break block, but you're probably not going to use your light finisher. It has the same windup as the skill will go on later on, but less effect. This is the green bomber. This is just your basic light combo. In the air, you're going to be using this a lot for all those stupid pesky bots. It sucks. Hulk is not the character that should be taking out the guys in the air. He shouldn't be really worrying about the guys that are the turrets on the walls or the guys that perched up sniping. Those are people that, like Black Widow or Iron Man, should be handling. People that are highly mobile, can fly. Hulk can't jump like he can in the comic, but he'll feel mobile, but it's not. Sometimes getting around vertically can be a challenge with him, so it's best left to the Flyers. Thor, when he comes out, probably as well. Will be good at handling air, but he seems more of like a mixed character just from like the intro mission. Then you got Rock Grab. This is your ranged attack here. It can be pretty effective. It seems like range stat scales really heavily on Hulk for some reason. I don't know how it interacts with this ability and picking up the rock and throwing it, but I would actually not use this ability. I got it just because it looked cool, and it does look cool, but it's kind of janky to use, at least on gamepad. I've been trying to avoid playing on the mouse and keyboard just for my hands' sake. But yeah, I wouldn't take these, but they're still cool looking. It's not bad. This does a lot of damage, for a lot of stun and a lot of damage, and breaks block and knocks people around. That's good for clearing an area, but overall, I wouldn't really like. I think maybe the exception could be probably a build where you're stacking like a bunch of power, attack, range stats on your gear with like a lot of effects. I could see this just going in and clearing out the chaff instantly with some of those effects that proc. Most definitely AoE damage, AoE stun, especially if they're weak to the damage. But otherwise, I wouldn't get this because mostly instead of lifting up rocks, you're going to want to be lifting men. As far as his heavy attacks go, we've already gone over this. Best heavy attack string in the game, FF, or heavy heavy. Long range, look at the range on that. Oh, and it just, it's great. You don't normally come in with this when you start to attack. Normally you'll come in with like a light, heavy, dodge, maybe even just a light dodge, heavy dodge, heavy jump into the fucking suplex. Pardon my language. Don't use this. There's better ways to break block and break shields, so don't use this. This is where it's at. I prefer this. This is good. You just hit F, you'll knock people down. Does the medium shockwave damage, that's fine. The upgraded version is great because not only does it allow you to soup up the damage to it a little bit, or the impact of it, I believe, is what soups up. Yeah, it lowers the damage, but it breaks block. And then the impact becomes large, and stun stays medium, and then it still has the knockdown reaction. This also has the added benefit of and detriment of keeping you out of range of all charged up melee attacks. So instead of dodging and putting yourself into a dodge animation, you can leap into the air, charge this up. You'll knock people back, make a little room for yourself to go back into your combos. and break shields. This also lets you break shields and then grab shielded guys, which we'll get into here next. Definitely a good pickup. As for what I would get instead of these two, before we move on to the bulk of this build, I would probably get these because battering ram at the end gives you rage grab, but I could also see just getting these two. Being able to attack out of dodge, which you'll be doing a lot of if you're not dying a lot, or going out of a run, but I don't run at enemies that much. I tend to jump at enemies. When you're full running, jumping, you tend to avoid most laser fire, you avoid melee attacks, you avoid ground effects. There's a lot of ground effects in this game, grenades, mines, things like that you'll run into that'll suck you into the ground, freeze you, stuff like that. So, general, I think I want this just straight up for the rage build. I would just probably just quick run, tap heavy. It has a quick animation just to build a bit of rage real quick. Just add that into the combo probably. Light, dodge, go into a run, hit heavy, build a bit of rage if I'm low, or I was just using rage to build health. Then we'll get to the fun part of the build. Now, you start off with this default. You can kidnap one man. Slap some people around with it. As you see, it has low impact, medium stun, and it causes all kinds of status effects: spin, stagger, flyback, breaks block, and the damage increases per hit of the combo. I pretty much predominantly use heavy attacks. I don't know if the heavy attack finishers proc with this. I'll try to keep an eye out for it, look at the damage numbers, and see what comes up. Maybe I'll fight like a boss later on and look at it and get back to you guys. This allows you to kidnap 2 men. Splendid. Now, a little bit about kidnapping. It seems like the hold time is quite long for normal enemies and is still quite long for elite enemies or epic enemies. I have noticed they'll get the red exclamation point over their head when you get them, and honestly, just landing on the ground, a simple heavy attack into the ground to subdue them a little bit, and they'll learn the error of their ways. You can basically just grab 2 people, 1 person. You can just take off with them, go into the woods, have your way with them. Feels bad, man. It is quite a sight. What's interesting is that Pim particles seem to be able to shrink enemies. Hulk doesn't. I haven't gotten a Pim particle proc on heavy attack yet. He has it on his thrown weapon, but honestly, I'm not using it very often, except for like turrets and stuff when I'm playing solo, because my stupid NPCs want to, Black Widow wants to go in and fight, even though she's a range build. So usually I'm throwing rocks at turrets or flyers. Usually light is good for flyers. You can also throw men when you pick them up, but that results in not a lot of damage unless you throw them off of the terrain, and then they'll and by off the terrain I mean off into like the void. That'll insta kill them, but that also gets rid of their drops, so it's kind of just a funny fucked up thing to do. Overall, the double man wielding has high stun. It causes flyback. It breaks guard. It doesn't matter that you're losing out on the spin and the stagger because the flyback's enough. It seems to cause most enemies to fly back. I feel a lot more invulnerable to damage while dual wielding man, but you also have to understand that as soon as you get hit by a stagger, you will drop both of them. So typically you jump in, go into a full double man, slam ground heavy, slap a few guys around, jump up. A lot of the time you can just grab guys, take off with them, slam them into the ground a bunch till they're dead, and then go back for more. Interesting fact about the Pim particles, as I was saying, since I kind of got off topic there, but some of the larger enemies, like the guys in the mechs and stuff like that, when they're pimmed and shrunk, you can still grab them. Miss Marvel, don't grab people. Your grab is bugged. Don't use it. It also is poor damage. Just go beat people up. She's really good at that. She's actually quite fun as well. Hulk's grab can bug people as well, but typically I found is when you're playing around doing funny stuff is when it tends to bug. If you're just grabbing people, slamming them into the ground, slamming them to other people, you're not throwing, the damage isn't worth it. The only time you're throwing is for fun, really. They have like a sliver of health left after you've done the ground, the final heavy hit, and so you throw them off into the distance and watch them die or hit a flyer with them and laugh. Yeah, it's good fun. This is some of the most fun I've had in the game so far, is just Oh, hey, you're in the open world part. Oh, there's a little boss guy that drops loot that spawns in the air, and all these flyers come out, and guys in jetpacks, and then you go over, slap them once with a light, dodge, hit them with two heavies, knock them onto the ground, pick them up, jump away, take them off into the fucking woods, and get your gear. You don't need to worry about all that stuff. I'm already level 15 on Hulk. I don't need the experience, so I'm just trying to get loot. Easy peasy. You don't have to worry about dying or wasting your time with other enemies or getting staggered. You just slam them into the ground, and there's literally nothing they can do about it. Now we're going to get in the bulk of the build, which is Hulk's survivability. I've gone full might, but from my playtesting at endgame, I think probably stacking full resolve is going to be what you want to do with Hulk. He already does pretty good damage. If you're just at normal melee rating, you're going to have probably 300-ish. You'll have probably some might from some things, maybe split resolve might build. Just something to stop you from getting one shot by rockets. If your teammates can't take care of them, is mostly just not getting one shot is the most important thing with Hulk. If you can not get one shot, you'll survive. He builds willpower. You get the right procs on your gear. That takedowns let you build willpower. Takedowns, by the way, are the animations that you go into where you, for on the controller, it's like YB. On the Xbox controller, you go into an animation, you grab them, slam them around. Typically, it kills the enemy, depending on what difficulty you're on. Either way, it makes you invulnerable, which is one of the key things about that. I always try to grab a takedown animation when I can. Free damage, it builds rage, it builds willpower. You can't beat it. Invulnerability, it's the best. So rage is a toggleable ability that Hulk has. When you first use rage, it can cause a bit of a stagger. Also, what rage does is it creates a damage shield with your rage bar instead of your willpower. So you'll deplete your rage meter instead of your willpower. But you will build rage as you take damage and as you damage enemies. I doubt you build rage when you take damage while you're using rage. But otherwise, this is great. You won't be activating it much except for to regain willpower. Or take a damage shield if you've noticed that you're in a significantly difficult fight. And most of these abilities just increase the amount of rage that you have. It lessens the amount. So there's your maximum energy meter. There's a maximum point boost. Then you get your cost reductions here. Oh, and it increases the amount of damage you gain. Very nice there. Then we have the intrinsic rage meter when you perform perfect evade. So even evading things perfectly will give you rage meter. Very nice. This is very important. Survival instincts increases willpower recovery while rage is active. A nice little trick that you can do is if you go to take down an enemy, you can do things. I don't know if it actually makes a difference, but I found that rage toggling, you can do things like toggle your rage to use a very small amount of it to gain back willpower without having to do that. But also, once you get level 15, you won't have to worry about that. And why am I saying that? Because you have Cataclysm and you have your Overcharge. So when your rage is full, attacking builds up extra range and it overcharge it. While range is overcharged, it automatically is active. So your rage is going to be active. You don't have to toggle it on while it's in the overcharge state. And you'll have a second meter that shows you your overcharge meter. Hold on one second. And so that's nice. Now you cannot deplete your rage meter as long as you're not taking damage or you're taking very small amounts of just, like beam damage or stuff that's not staggering you from doing your attacks. You'll continue to build rage. You'll shrug the damage off. It won't do anything. If you're weaving in your dodges in between, you're pretty much nigh unstoppable in combat. And this is pretty key to Hulk build. You can get away with playing Hulk, but you got to play a little more footsie before you get up to this point with him. You got to really use your rage smartly. But once you get to the end game, I imagine if you have like max resolve, I imagine you can just play stupid and go be Hulk and get knocked around. Keep in mind that there are effects on some of the epic gear that I found. I'm still trying to farm gear. I finally found some of the best levels to do that at and the best way to do that. So I'm going to do that today, but I want to get a bunch of videos out to give people kind of an idea of what I found out about the game today because I put in a lot of hours on it. And then this is the beast right here. Increase all damage while rage is overcharged by 20%. And this is what makes it just significantly more powerful than pretty much anything you can do. And why I think going full health is okay on Hulk. I think you're still going to do, while you're overcharged, you're going to do good rage damage. And if you lose your rage, you're going to have a large amount of willpower. It looks like willpower regain is not a number base, it's a percentage base, so you're actually increasing your benefits for willpower regain. Some of them are, I believe, like on takedowns. Some of the procs give a static number, but I think there are also some other percentage-based numbers that recover willpower. I'll look back into that and get back in on that as well when I do like a specific breakdown of everything that I found in the game. But overall, that's the Hulk Rage build, man. Also, in case you didn't know, there's a bug with high-end gear. If you get a high-level piece to drop, it will actually not be able to be upgradable. You see, this is a piece right here. It dropped at level 44. The max power for items is 45. So yeah, just letting you know, you can't unlock some of the perks that you get. But see, here's willpower burst right here. That's health. All of these things are very light combo finishers. I tend to go for heavy combo finishers myself. You get things like increased stun damage and stuff like that. So taking damage grants an explosion that stuns enemies. Very nice. Heroic charge burst for all heroics. Hulk's heroic charges are pretty amazing. I could even see a heroic build working for Hulk. You gain a vulnerability during his rogue. His charge can essentially force a grab animation on large enemies, or not a grab animation, but like the takedown animation on large enemies. If it goes off right, it's kind of buggy. I don't use targeting though. I use auto targeting because I don't really like targeting. I like being able to freely use my camera. Resistances are good. Increased damage from sprint and evade attack. That's useless. I'm just using it because of the might, essentially. Defeating an enemy grants willpower, and that's going to be the big difference there. So that's going to be on enemy kills, you get a chance for willpower. Defeat 3 enemies in rapid succession for a defense buff. And honestly, if you're like got 2 guys in your hands and you're killing other guys, those guys in your hands are dying, you will quickly rack up the combos needed for some of these. 10% chance that melee critical hits grant invulnerabilities. There's some really nice effects on some of this endgame gear. I haven't gotten a legendary on Hulk on the high end yet. I've gotten 1 legendary or 2 legendary drops so far on other characters. This Hulk build actually, right now with what gear I have, actually has a lot of... Yeah, see, here it is. This is the level 45 piece I got from completing the mission. I can't use it. I don't think I'd want to, but yeah. Sucks. Here we go. I was just gonna dismantle it right here, but yeah, that's my video. Tell me guys what you think. If you want to see more stuff for any other characters, I'm still leveling them right now. I got 2 of them up to about 20 power, and I haven't even worked on Iron Man yet. So stay tuned. Hit the bell. Leave comments. Let me know what your experiences are. What weird things have you found? What bugs have you found? I'm gonna do like a big bug list. Probably do a big bug video. And a text file to put for the developers for the game to hopefully get this game fixed, because it is a lot of fun and I see a lot of potential here, but I also don't see this getting done in a month. So, yeah, peace.